This episode is sponsored by the Losing It merch store.
And the Merching It Lose store, the Losing It merch store, you can visit at nelsiespencer.com. Go to the top of the page, over to the right where it says merch, click on that, and you will see everything we've got. And this week, we're focusing on the vintage Nelsie t-shirt. See that picture? See that hair? That is circa 1970. That might be like 1978. No, 74.
That's you.
So get that Losing It tee. That's me. That is me. That is Nelsie with fabulous hair. Yeah. Right. So get it, buy it, wear it, give it to your friends, and also check out, I really want to also mention that we have Losing It masks, because I think that having a mask that says Losing It, ! That's a good mask, because we're losing it. We're all losing it a little bit. Right?
Yeah.
So check out the masks, check out the Nelsie vintage tee. Look at that. Look at that cool mask. And everything else, mugs, totes, hoodies.
Losing it, losing it, losing it, losing it, losing it. If you got a story, we don't care if it's happy or gory, so come share.
I don't think it's this one. It's you're good to go.
I'm good to go. Hey guys, welcome to Losing It with Nelsie Spencer. That's me. The podcast where my guests come on and tell a Losing It story. And I'm here with the lovely and talented Ronnie Whaley. Hey Ronnie.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. I feel like I need a better way of coming in to each episode, because I edit these and I noticed that I just go, hey.
Yeah, come on. You need a signature hello.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I know.
We'll work on that.
We'll work on that.
Yeah, and you always sound just slightly surprised that I'm talking to you.
Oh, hey.
Oh, hello, Nelsie. My God, I didn't see you there.
I have to be a part of this. I totally forgot. Oh, yeah.
How the heck are you?
Good. Same.
That didn't sound very convincing. Talk to me.
Well, the whole United States is frozen right now, so it's just really interesting.
I know.
You see all that stuff in Texas, people are going crazy.
Yeah, Texas, like hundreds of thousands of people were out of power or more.
Yeah.
Like, a huge grid went out, right?
Yeah. I mean, it is really strange. Like, I used to go to Texas, my grandparents used to live there, and I used to go there every Christmas. So I know that there's no snow there. So I've been going there my whole life, like, for the past 20 years or something of my life, every Christmas. There's no snow. There's no snow.
There's no snow in Texas.
I think one time we saw a little bit and we all freaked out.
Yeah. Yeah. When I was growing up in Southern California, it snowed once and we lost our minds. And of course, nothing stuck, and it probably snowed for a total of 7 minutes.
Yeah.
But we were like, yay! I know, but this was blizzard and really, really not good. And people are boiling snow to get water. Like,
is that what's happening?
Yeah. I have a client, a student who lives in El Paso, and because she's so close to Arizona, their power was not affected. But a lot of her friends were like, the grocery stores are out of everything. People are literally boiling snow so they have water.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy. And I'm just snuggled up here in New Jersey, feeling really smug. No, I'm not, because I'm not that kind of person. But yeah, and you guys still have tons of snow up there in New Hampshire.
It's snowing again today. It's just snowing all the time. Yeah, it's crazy.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
oh my
start
God.
to feel stuck here. The cabin fever really setting in. Yeah.
Yeah. The between the pandemic and the cold and the snow, it's really easy for that to happen. It's like I was a little down the other day, and I was like, God, I wonder why I wonder why I'm down. Oh, right. Pandemic. And I've seen my husband, my son, his girlfriend, and my dog. And you. I get to see you virtually.
Virtually, yeah.
Yeah. But
yeah, I had the same feeling, honestly. I watched this documentary about this rapper, Travis Scott. I don't know if you know him.
Travis is not a name for a rapper. Am I wrong? I don't imagine
it's an interesting name for a rapper. Yeah, Travis Scott. That's not his real name, you know.
So he chose
That's
Travis.
His stage name. Yeah.
And is he African American? Is he black, white?
Yeah.
What?
He's black. He's black, and his real name is Jacqueline, I think, or Jack. But he chose Travis Scott. And I was watching this documentary.
Yeah.
And the documentary, it's funny how a lot of artists now have documentaries and they're like, you know, in their mid-20s. How can you have a documentary at this point in your life?
Yeah. You're telling me about your life. Yeah. It's a 7-minute documentary. Yeah. Right.
Well, a lot of these documentaries I've noticed are just like the beginnings of their career, how they got famous. So like, okay, I kind of we can get an hour from this. But his story is pretty interesting. But I was watching it and I started to get really energized and inspired, which I usually do when I watch a lot of these artist documentaries. And his shows are insane. He has insane shows. He has like a lot of like mosh pit shows, a very active, engaged with his audience type shows. And I started to get really energized, like, oh, this is so awesome. And then I immediately got depressed. It's like, this is not a thing anymore, you know?
It's not a thing. It's not a thing.
Like, all those people, I got nervous at some scenes, like, oh, there's too many people there. And now I'm like, oh, man.
When I go out, like if I go, you know, I don't leave the house much, but like I went to the dentist the other day, only to discover that I was there on the wrong day. And that my appointment was tomorrow. And while I was backing out of my driveway to go to the dentist appointment that wasn't there, I hit someone. Not a person, really? A car. Yeah, I friggin' backed up right into a truck.
Why?
Because I'm an idiot. Because I'm backing up and I'm looking left. And well, that's right. I'm looking right and I'm looking left and I'm making sure that there's no one in the street. But this guy's directly behind me, parked opposite my driveway. But I'm sure he was in my camera, but I didn't see him. And I whip out, boom.
What happened?
Hit the guy. Oh, you know, I have to call Geico. Yeah, my rates are going to go up. But the point
was he there?
Yeah, and he gets out. He was very nice.
In the car.
He was just sitting in the car making a phone call. I'm like, why are you parked behind my driveway? I mean, it was in no way was it his fault, but I still want to blame him. So after I go out and have the mask on and I'm really noticing, you know, 6 feet apart, when I come home and my husband approaches me, my instinct is like, don't get close. Like I forget that it's okay for him to touch me because
it's just instinct at this point.
It's instinct. Yeah. So, but I think mosh pits will come back. Don't you think? Don't you think?
Yeah, I assume so. People really want them back. So
they do.
You know, it's just till it gets, you know, safe enough. I mean, it's not safe, but until it's, you know, we don't get infected and we just break our bones.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? Right. So the danger in a mosh pit has to do with bone breaking and, you know, than, things like that, not with getting a deadly virus.
Exactly.
Right?
You know?
Yeah.
I mean, I miss shows. Miss shows a lot.
Yeah. Do you usually go to a lot of live shows? Do you do that?
Yeah, I love concerts and stuff. I love concerts so much. Yeah.
That's so great. I haven't. I haven't been to a concert in a really long time. And I think the last live music I saw was probably like Cabaret I mean, it was good. Don't get me wrong. But it's been a long time since I've been to a rock concert. Like way too long.
Yeah.
It was probably like David Bowie. Circa 1995, but it was really good.
I'm sure it was.
Oh, fucking David Bowie. Loved him. Yeah, I touched him once.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I was me and my brothers were huge David Bowie fans. And in fact, they saw him when he was Ziggy Stardust. Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars. young people, Google it. Bless you. Uh-oh, COVID.
Oh, my God. Oh, sorry about that.
That's all right, honey. You okay?
Yeah, I'm all right. Yeah.
You're safe, right? You're not sick, right?
I haven't been outside.
Okay.
In like months.
Okay, right.
I get my groceries delivered.
You went outside to show me the snow when you did that video, and that was kind of it.
Like 5 seconds, yeah.
Yeah.
That was pretty much it.
So anyway, I saw David Bowie in concert probably a total of 10 times over the years. And
wow, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
And back in the day, like in the mid to late 70s, these were the days where like a band would do, or an artist would do like 5 nights. And they used to do the amphitheater, Universal Amphitheater, which is a pretty small venue. And David Bowie was like doing the Diamond Dogs tour. So it was like so gorgeous and theatrical. And we were like 4th row or maybe 10th row. Yeah. And his encore was Rock and Roll Suicide. And go to Spotify, listen. It's a great song. And he says, one of the lyrics is, "Give me your hand." So he's leaning down and I'm leaning up, and he held my hand. David Bowie held my hand. Yeah. Circa 1974. I was, 17 and, was heaven. I can die happy now.
Very cool.
Yeah. So
I had a DJ spit champagne in my mouth one time. That's it.
I think that's comparable.
Yeah. Kind of the same thing.
What?
Yeah.
You got to back up on that one and give me that one. You got it.
You've never had that happen to you, or just me?
But there's still time. There's still time. If only this darn quarantine would end, then I could get.
I'm waiting for my chance
to have champagne spit in my mouth. Wow. Whew. Yeah. Okay. You gonna tell me?
So, yeah, it was like I was at like a rave. This is back when I used to go to a lot of these raves, like electric music.
I'm glad it wasn't like at your cousin's wedding.
Yeah, right?
I'm really glad it was a rave.
Yeah, see, now with context, it makes more sense, right?
It was at my aunt's 60th birthday party.
Yeah, the DJ at my aunt's 60th birthday party.
It was nuts.
Great show.
All right, so you're at a rave. Are you here or are you in the Philippines?
I was in the Philippines. This is when the electric music explosion in the Philippines happened a few years ago. And it was like a rave every week, international DJ or something like that. And I was into it for a bit, for like maybe 6 months or something. But then in that 6 months, it was very packed. This guy, Steve Aoki, he's figured out this whole DJ thing where like we all understand that DJs, they just stand there. So he decided to make his show like really engaging, and he does a lot of gimmicky stuff on stage, which is just great. Like he does this thing where like he cakes people. So he like takes a cake. He has a cake come out, and then usually it's like a girl on someone's shoulders comes over, and then like on the buildup of the song and then the drop of the song, he throws a cake at that person. And it's amazing.
He cakes people. I had not previously thought of cake as a verb. He cakes people. Okay, there you go. Yeah.
And people hold up signs that say "cake me" and stuff. It's great. And he has like robots on stage, and and he also has champagne. So he has like a huge bottle of champagne, and he's like, he does that, NASCAR or F1 thing where he like sprays champagne all over. Yeah. Yeah. And then he put champagne in his mouth, and I'm right in front, right? I'm right in front. Like I'm touching his foot, not on purpose. I'm just trying to like, there's like, like 5,000 people behind me pushing me up against the stage. Yeah. And, I'm just right under him, and then I'm like, I look up and go, and then he just spits champagne in my mouth. It's just horrible. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. It was really gross.
It's gross. It's
It
gross.
was really gross.
It's
Yeah,
gross.
it was really gross. But
and did you?
it was a great show.
It was a great show. Yeah. Aside from the champagne in the mouth, it was a great show. Yeah.
Yeah. Free drinks. You know?
To be young. Yeah. Free drinks delivered from his mouth to yours.
Yeah. You could be, people could have said that. I could say that I made out with him, Not a lot of people could say that.
Well, you've probably swapped spit. You have swapped spit. Yeah.
Actually, it was one way. So I don't know how it works really.
Oh,
but,
God. I
show.
hate that I have to ask this question, but I do. Did you swallow?
No. I mean,
I knew you didn't, but I did have to ask.
I might have accidentally, just from instinct, just
You
like
were
a little bit. Mouthwash, right? Sometimes you swallow just a tiny bit. It was a little bit
even though you don't want to. Yeah.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
Oh, God. Yeah. Well, that's what I'm looking forward to. That's why I want the pandemic to be over. So a DJ will spit champagne in my mouth.
My God. Dad, if you're listening to this, my dad listens to the podcast sometimes.
Oh, Dad, Ronnie's dad. My God, don't worry. Don't worry. He's in New Hampshire. He can't leave the house. Okay, he's safe now. He's safe. All right. So good. So what else? Are we good?
Yeah.
Is it time? Is it time? It's time to talk about our fabulous guest. Now, you guys know that Ronnie gets me great guests, and this guy is a great guest, but it's from a somewhat unexpected source. It is Ronnie's high school English teacher. Yes. Mr. Chandler. We just call him Mr. Chandler because that's what Ronnie calls him.
Can't call him Jonathon.
Oh, my God. Right. No, you can't call your teacher by the first name unless you went to a progressive school, in New York City where my kids went. So yes, Mr. Chandler, Mr. Jonathon Chandler, who is so funny and so quirky and interesting and has great stories. And he has a great losing it story, but he also has 10 other great stories.
He has so many.
Oh, God, he's funny. And
he should have his own podcast,
Didn't you think? I totally thought that. Totally thought that. But he was like, oh, I don't know, the podcast. I don't know,
I mean, it took me a month and a half to get him on this podcast.
Right. It's like the Zoom and the computer. Oh, my God. He is really funny, and he has great stories involving travel. And I won't give anything away, but there's a famous dead rock star that he talks about. And I think it's time. Let's go to it. Enjoy, guys. Mr. Chandler.
No worries.
So today's episode, we have another interesting guest that the lovely Ronnie Whaley got for me. And it's so great because he's like, oh, guess who I got? I'm like, who? He's like, Jonathon Chandler. I'm like, Jonathon Chandler? She said, yeah, my English teacher from high school. I'm like, oh my God. So, but he's like, you're going to love him. He's got great stories. He's much closer to my age than Ronnie is. We're both baby boomers. And he's coming to us all the way from Manila. And so happy to meet you. How are you doing, Jonathon?
Hi, good morning. I'm doing well, I guess. Yeah. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, so he's in Manila, where it's the morning, and Ronnie and I are on the east coast of the U.S., so it's in the evening. But yeah, so I'm so excited to meet you. And you're originally from the U.K.
Yes, I've been in Asia for about 35 years. I'm old. I'm 69 next. Yeah, I'm 69 next month. So I'm.
Bravo.
Yeah.
Bravo. I'm 64, so
Wow, I thought you were about 50. So there you go.
Thank you. Oh my God, did you ever think that line would be a compliment? I thought you were about 50. Young people, remember that. Remember that. I always say to my friends that are younger, and they're like, "Oh, I look so old." I say, "Okay, I want you to look at pictures of me now when I'm 50, I'm like, oh my God, she was young and gorgeous, right? So we have to remember that. Like, this is the best we're ever going to look, right? Because every day we get older. So I like that. I look about 50. That's my best compliment in weeks. But we grew up around the same time. Right?
Pretty much, I guess. Yeah.
We're both baby boomers.
Yeah, 1952. So, in England, England was pretty, it was rationing and black and white, in 52. I know that much. Yeah. I mean, I didn't even have a TV. Well, actually, I don't have a TV now, but we had Saturday morning TV if we were lucky. And I went away to boarding school at the age of 6.5.
See, that's the thing that blows my mind. That my friend that's from New Zealand, he too went to boarding school at 6. That's crazy, no?
Well, it's interesting because I was a cathedral choir boy, a chorister at Oxford, Christchurch Cathedral.
Fantastic.
And but then you don't, because you're a chorister, your life, your job is to be singing in the cathedral. So I never got Christmas days because I was singing. My dad was 400 miles away. And he was a priest down in this small, in a harbour town in the southwest. So I didn't get Christmas days. I didn't get Easter because that's a busy day. And my birthday was fell between. So I never got the traditional Christmas, Easter and birthday things. I don't know if it affects me, but I'm fairly dysfunctional. I don't know.
I love that. I don't know if it affects me, but I'm fairly dysfunctional. And who knows if that's the source of the dysfunction, right?
Knows? Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. I don't know. You look pretty damn functional to me. It's early there. You're awake. You've been, come on.
Right.
Right.
Yes. Okay. I'll go with it.
So what brought you to Manila? How did you you left the UK? Why?
Oh, well, it's been 35 years. No, I traveled a lot. I mean, I traveled so much. And then when I was about 33, I was on my way to Japan.
Wait, I want you to stop for a second. Did I just hear a rooster crow?
Yeah, you do. I mean, I live in a very nice part of Manila because you can't believe it. I'm on a house with a garden.
Lovely.
Which is unreal for Manila, as Ronnie will attest. But my landlord has about 60 chickens and they never stop. And he also has a whole load of dogs in cages.
Oh my God.
So the noise is...
Mr. Chandler, could you... your camera's...
I only am seeing your chin. Hey, there we go.
A little bit more? Just a little bit more. There you go.
Oh, perfection.
Okay, no. And now I can't see you guys. Oh, I can't see Ronnie. That's why.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. My camera. All right. Okay.
But right now, we don't need him. I mean, we need him, but we don't need to see him.
So, I was on my way. Yeah, I traveled a lot. And I was on my way to a job in Japan as a teacher. And the plane had a stopover in Taipei, Taiwan. And I had a friend there. So I sort of extended the stopover, just for 2 nights so I could say hi.
Yeah.
And the night I arrived there, it was like 10 o'clock at night, and he took me out and they asked me to be in a film. That very night, walked into the only pub in, Taiwan in the 80s. It was still dictatorship, Chiang Kai-shek and all that.
Wow.
And, so I got in this movie and I never left Taiwan. I've been to Japan as well for trips, but I never got to Japan. I ended up marrying, having children, and I was there for about 26 years. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Goodness.
Wait, what was the movie?
Yeah, good question.
It's a local Taiwan movie, and it was called My Love, the Butterfly. And I played an English teacher, but nowadays actually I do speak Chinese, if pretty badly. But I had never spoken a word of Chinese, and they were trying to teach me to say something in Chinese phonetically. So I was writing it down, and it just was pretty horrible. And it was really interesting. I met all these interesting people on the very first couple of days, But
and so when you landed in Taipei on your way to Japan, which you didn't make it to, and then became a film star immediately, how long had you? So then you were 30 something, right? If this was 33 years ago, right?
Yeah.
So how old were you when you actually left the UK?
Oh no, but I was traveling always. Like go back to the UK, I'd do things like work in the oil business, get more cash, and then go traveling again. So I've been to Africa, to India, Middle East, Russia, Thailand,
Fantastic.
It was okay in those days. Yeah. I mean,
yeah. So did you start doing that like in the 70s? Is that when you started the traveling?
Yeah, absolutely. My final degree exam in the summer of 1973, I had 13 papers, and the last paper finished, and it was down in Hammersmith by the River Thames, and I took a subway to St. James's Park, where I've been told an Irish ganger would give a student a job for cash. And so I get there, pick up that shovel, and I started shoveling. And after 6 weeks, I had enough money to get to Africa for about 8 months.
Where in Africa did you go?
Well, I got to Cairo by various methods. And from Cairo, I went all the way down to Dar es Salaam and the Kenyan border. And I did it without a backpack. I did it without a sleeping bag. And I did it without any accommodation. I had £50 and an open-dated ticket from Nairobi back to London.
Wow. And when you say £50, meaning 50 British pounds.
Traveler's checks.
Right. Yeah. You weren't carrying 50 pounds of things. I'm just going to.
No. I didn't have a backpack. I love it. Well, I was into that idea of being a sort of traveler. It was 1973, and that's another story because it involves the Yom Kippur War and being in places where, you were the enemy.
I'm beginning to think, Jonathon, that you need to have your own podcast because Ronnie was like, oh no, he's got lots of stories. And I'm like, oh my God. I was lucky enough when I was 12 to go to East Africa.
Oh, really?
I had a grandfather who had money, and he and my grandmother had gone. And so in 1969, he decided to take all his grandkids. And so I, at the age of 12, I was there for 15 days. So it was like quick, or maybe it was more than that. I don't remember, but it was Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania.
Oh, wow.
And,
around Lake Victoria. Beautiful.
Yes. No, I mean, so lucky. I wish I'd been a little older because I was a little, oh God, you can't get a good hamburger here. I was a little bit of a jerk. But mostly I enjoyed it. But I'm not sure I quite knew how lucky I was, Yeah. All right. So you go to Taipei. And then, so when do you end up in Manila? When do you end up in Philippines?
Obviously I had a long session there, 20 years or something. But I was married for 7 years to a very powerful KMT, the Nationalist Party senator's daughter. Her uncle Wu was mayor of Taipei when we got married. He became chairman of the KMT, the old Nationalist Party, and he was the first from Taiwan to shake hands with the mainland because there's still a historical Cold War between Taiwan and the mainland. So I had this wonderful, it was difficult, it was privileged family about in-laws.
Right.
But the thing is, I didn't really match up to their expectations of being, I wanted to write, but I did have an English school, an academy, licensed academy, and I made a lot of money for them. That one, anyway, after about 7 years. There's another story there, actually, about fortune tellers and things. But my wife suddenly left me without any warning when I was in England with students. No. And I haven't seen my daughters for a long, long time. Yeah. But that's not something I want to talk about. It's too miserable. It's too miserable.
It's too sad, but we'll talk later about it.
Yeah. Anyway, that was it. And then because I speak Chinese not well, and I don't read or write, but I can get around. I left Taiwan eventually, and I went to Shanghai and Qingdao and China mainland working as a consultant, which is well paid, but China mainland is horrible. And then I was actually invited to come down to Subic.
When you say it's horrible, fill me in a little bit. I mean, I know.
You probably know about pollution and traffic and, the food. You can't trust any food. It's squalid. But a beautiful country physically, but just, it's the real issues of sort of living day to day.
Absolutely.
But then I was invited to come to teach at Brent Subic, which is where Ronnie was. And and I'd always had a connection to the Philippines, and I really wanted to, work there, live there. And I've been here 11 years. So, yeah. But ever since about 84, 85, I've been coming to the Philippines.
And do you feel like you're there to stay, or do you, because you have this travel, you do?
Oh, no, that's all over. I mean, I would be here to stay if it was okay to stay, which is another thing that happened this week. In fact, 2 days ago. So a bit of a shock news for me. But yeah, I've got a place and I've got land. There's a whole issue there because Ronnie will tell you, foreigners can't own stuff. You know?
Yeah.
But I have, there are ways and means.
Right.
And I have partner and I have friends. But I'm still very much in touch with England, my hometown. It's kind of like that. I think I'll be here till the dust, rises up.
Okay. All right. So good. So did you want to, you said something happened in the last week. Is that the thing that you want to talk about?
Yeah, no, it's just a very quick one because I'm in shock.
Yeah, let's get
I didn't sleep very well. Well, what happened was when I moved from the school organization Brent, which is 110 years old, the oldest school in Philippines, the oldest international school, I came to the German school. I also invited to come here, which is in Manila. And you have to change your visa when you take a new job. And they messed it all up, but it was all during the lockdown, the quarantine. So eventually and all by sort of mismanagement by both schools, the one I worked at before and then this one, the German school, I didn't actually get everything sorted out, which including a police clearance, by the end of November. So the process should have started in July and over with. But because of pandemic, anyway, everything's been drawn out. 2 days ago, I was given an order to leave. And I'm going to have to leave the Philippines. And I have 50 days, 50. But the problem is I'm nearly 69 next month in March. I'm healthy. And I work full time as a teacher, and they're chucking me out to go to COVID. I don't want to go into the COVID. I have diabetes for a start, so I'm a high risk. But apart from all that, it was the big dilemma because would I go and stay in England? And my sister in London's got a really nice place for me. And I have a lot of family and friends. But, during the pandemic, England is in a real mess.
Yes. That seems crazy.
Yeah, and plus the time, I'd still be working, teaching online full time. It is full time, it's all day here. And so if I'd be teaching from 12:30 at night till 8 in the morning, and that's just beyond me now. So luckily, the guy who lived here before me, who's still a teacher, he has a place in Thailand, in Chiang Mai, and that's pretty much the same time zone. So it looks like I'm going there. But in Thailand, I still have to do 10 days in a hotel and swab tests and everything. I really don't need all that. I say I'm old, I'm tired. Yeah, but so that looks like we're paying rent here and paying rent there and working full time. But Lord, that was the news. Yeah, it was a real shocker.
Oh, that's a shocker, and that's just doesn't seem right. I wish I knew important people in high places, and I just fix it for you.
Well, no, that's it. I mean, normally they said to me that we can handle this. We can fix it. With the German school, we have the German embassy, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, but apparently, I'm going to say something a bit sensitive. I call it. He said, well, everybody's changed their job since the new year, and we don't have the same sort of contacts. I said, is that bribery rotation? Yeah. My cousin's turn to be, getting it. But so, yeah, I'm a victim of that. And Ronnie would say the Philippines is a lovely place, but it's kind of infuriating at times. But I don't want to get into trouble because I love it. And, my heart belongs here too. England.
Right. So you'll do it and it'll work out and you'll be back.
Well, that's the issue. So a German teacher went back to Berlin for Christmas and she's not allowed back. That's the issue. So Philippines is very slow. Of course, they're not going to get the vaccine for a long time because it's a poor country and it's a bit of a mess and they haven't made the right moves.
Well, we you know what? We're going to have to, I want an update. We're going to have to get an update from you because I know that I care. I wonder. I know that Ronnie's is concerned. So I know our listeners will want to know how it all turned out. Okay. Because I want to know ultimately that you're back hanging out with the roosters in the background. That's what I want to know.
Okay, well, thank you for that. Thank you for that.
So, in the meantime, I think you do have a losing it story for me.
Is that correct? Okay. Yeah. Quite a lot of losing it, but this one I thought might sort of chime. In 1978,
I'm liking it already. I already like
well, in
it.
1977, I was working up in Shetland Islands, right up the north,
Yeah.
And they had this Sullivans oil terminal to sort of store and sell North Sea oil. And so I was up there earning excellent money, of course, oil. And I wanted to go to India. I've been planning it. I've done Africa, I've done various places, but I wanted to.
So wait a second. Let me do the math. So if it's 78,
26.
How old are you?
26.
26. So you've already got your degree to teach English, correct?
No, it's a philosophy degree.
So you've already got your philosophy degree.
Oh yeah, but
there's not a lot of money, more money in oil than there is in philosophy.
No, I mean it wasn't an intentional thing. Philosophy degree. It was just one of those things. Get to London University and hang out in London. But no, the traveling and the writing was the goal, and to do that, you had to earn money to get out. I took all sorts of jobs: truck driving, waiting tables, running a wine bar. But the North Sea oil was really excellent. Go up there, live in Shetlands, was beautiful, earn excellent money without working very hard, because they want you to slow down if you work hard. If you slow down, or you put a man out of work, so it was also, got government money. And I was always able to finance traveling, and then I would travel and then come back and earn some more money. That was a sort of MO. And I did do 1 year at college at the University of Bangor in North Wales, University of Wales, for teacher's ticket, and you could get that. And it was all paid for in those days. Students were paid to go to college, So you just went there and had a year, and then they got a teacher's ticket. But
fantastic.
Yeah,
so it's 1978. You're working in oil on the Shetland Islands, and
right. So I wanted to go to India, and I had a beautiful Jewish princess girlfriend. I met her at college, and North London princess, and absolutely gorgeous and lovely, and still have a huge soft spot for her a long time later. And I said, let's go would you like to come to India? And she said, of course we did. And it's a fairly long story, so I'll cut it short. But we got to India, arrived in Delhi, and then we, by various methods, saw the Taj, then always making mistakes because very low budget. But at least in 1978, you were pretty free to travel around. There were obviously hippies around.
And would you have considered yourself a hippie?
No, not really. But I knew a lot of hippie sort of thing. Anyway, do I just keep talking, right?
There's no rush. Just so you know, Jonathan, there's no rush. Take your time. Tell me the story. I personally never been to the Shetland Islands, never worked on an oil rig, never had a beautiful Jewish princess girlfriend from London, and have never been to India. So don't take your time, because I'm here. I'm with you, baby.
All right. Okay.
The reason I asked if you were a hippie is because I want to picture you, like, are you wearing bell bottoms and is your hair down to your shoulders, or do you have big old, do you have sideburns? Like, what do you look like? You know what I mean? What are you wearing?
You what.
Yeah.
Well, funnily enough, here's a picture of me in Africa, which was at 73. Can you see that?
Around the same time.
No, this is earlier.
Oh.
That's in Kenya. That's in Lamu Island.
Oh my God.
Can you see it? Can you see it?
Not great, but you know what? We'll put it on our Instagram page so people can really get a good look at it.
I don't know how. I don't use Instagram.
I'll take care of it.
Ronnie will take care of it.
Right.
He's magic. Ronnie is magic.
Okay, great. Right. So I can only see. I can't see anything.
You can't see me?
Now I can. Okay. Good.
Good.
All right. So if I spread it out, there's a couple of funny ones. For example, I'd seen. I wanted to go to the Taj Mahal, and there was a sign saying a full moon tour. And there was a full moon coming, so that the jewels that were set in the Taj are sort of meant to reflect the full moon. You get the full sort of show from the original, and I should have. It was the travel company was called Panicer, Panicker, Panicer. Panicer's Travels Full Moon Tour. Hilarious, not hilarious. We get to a bus and it's not. Well, they weren't tourists anyway. They weren't in 78, but this is a sort of broken window bus, and we committed. We're going, have a bag, small bags and stuff, on our way. And we didn't get to the full moon until the full moon. We had the whole day traveling with stopping at, it just wasn't it wasn't really a full moon tour. But anyway, from there, to cut a long story short, went to Varanasi, Varanasi is the holy place on the river. You see all those pilgrims that you see of India. Yeah. So you could bathe in the Ganga, the river. And from there up to Nepal. Nepal was amazing.
Did you go into the river?
No, thank you. Babies, dead babies. No thanks.
Well, my brother, I have to tell you this because my brother went to India in, I don't know, maybe 10, 12 years ago. And he actually scattered some of my mom's ashes right. in the Ganges. And everybody said, don't go in. And he didn't pay any attention. And he got some sort of parasite and was sick for months and months.
Maybe just, you're lucky to survive.
Exactly. So he had a somewhat, romantic view of it. And that was only 10 years ago. You're talking back in 78.
Yeah. Well, nowadays, when you see, Discovery and all that, there's sort of hordes tourists taking pictures of these people in their ritualistic, ablutions and things. It's a bit shameful, but in those days, it wasn't like that. It really wasn't. I do remember one thing because we'd gone to the burning ghat, which is where poor people are cremated. They're just cremated and the ashes thrown in there. So, and at the burning ghat, you see all these really fat, healthy dogs, and that's scary. The only time in India you Yeah. Oh. And then it's very sinister. The people who hang around the burning ghat, there's people who are involved in daily death rituals, Kali, the god, and the dark ones and all that. And
so you're there with your beautiful Jewish princess.
Yeah, we were just
was she? How was she as a travel mate? Was she really game?
Oh,
you know what I mean?
She's pretty cool. No, she's pretty cool. We'd already done a previous one, so that's another story. We'd already done Fiji in the South Pacific.
From that's Fiji my sister. India.
Uh-huh. No. That's another trip.
No, but I'm saying those are two very different trips. I mean, Fiji.
Well, Fiji was part of. I worked in New York in 1975 for about a year, and she came over, and we lived in America for that. Well, I drove across America after a year, and then we got a cheap flight to American Samoa because it's part of America. And then
one of my best friends goes to American Samoa all the time. She went there for disaster relief. Right. Because she used to work for FEMA, and now that's her go-to place. She loves it there. It's gorgeous, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, South Pacific, it's very expensive. I got a boat from there, a ferry boat, to Western Samoa up here, but there's no more boats to Fiji because the Pacific is huge. And so you take a local flight, which we had to, because I thought I had this romantic sort of Somerset lawn, get on boats, but it doesn't happen. So I had to take a flight, which was incredibly expensive. But my sister lived there and still does, actually. She still lives. Oh, my God.
So you guys, you're international. You're travelers. It sounds like a family of travelers.
Well, no, my sister married to a Scotsman way back. She's about 88. And he was a part of the British Empire thing, He was a district commissioner in Fiji, and she's lived there all. Wow. She still lives there. Yeah. Wow. I talk to her pretty much regularly on Skype.
That's great. That's great. Yeah. Let's take a quick break and listen to a word from our sponsors, shall we? Did you know that 75% of consumers judge a company's credibility based on their website design? It's true. 70% of people are less likely to trust a company that uses poorly produced content. Makes sense. Over 85% of people say they look at their phones during Super Bowl commercials that cost millions of dollars. So they're not looking at those commercials, they're looking at their phones. In these times of no contact delivery and Zoom meetings, are you fully taking advantage of the internet to grow your business? Are you? Well, cleanse your mind of concern and let Ronnie Whaley set you up. That is right. For a limited time only, our very own Ronnie is offering an all-in-one package called the New Face Package. And it's awesome. It really is. He's so smart what he's doing here. The package consists of 3 main services. Number 1, a total revamp or creation of your new, sleek, modern, and beautiful state-of-the-art website. Number 2, growing and establishing social media channels, as well as a tailor-made social media strategy with a consultation that has your specific goals in mind. And number 3, branded content production and art direction that is in line with your brand and message. He gave me a brand. He gave me a message. Slots are available now. For a limited time, this package starts at $500 for a limited time. And the starting packages being $500, financing is available with PayPal's Pay in 4 option at checkout. Pay in 4 different let me say that again. Pay in 4 different installments. From Southeast Asia to New York City, Ronnie has helped companies head in the right direction by branding, designing, and modernizing their online presence, image, and facilitation. Whether you're a small business, author, podcaster, or rapping magician, a rapping magician? Wow. And what rapping magician does not need an online presence that speaks and converts you into income for you? Don't get left behind and get your business online today. Visit www.ronniefw.com/newface.
Hey everyone, it's time to step away from your Netflix, Amazon, Hulu, or whatever it is you're falling into and step back into your dreams. Yes, it's 2021, it's a new year. We've got vaccines on the horizon and your dreams are still sitting there waiting. That memoir that you've been promising yourself to finish is just waiting to be written. Your novel or screenplay that you've done 3 drafts of but needs a 4th is begging you for some motivation. Now is the time to get back to those dreams of writing that you may have abandoned. So, say you need some help when it comes to writing. You're stuck, not sure where to go, not sure how to create compelling characters, tension, etc. Not a problem. Nelsie has got you covered. Go to NelsieSpencer.com and click on Work with Nelsie at the top, and there you'll find classes, one-on-one mentoring, and even a virtual writing coach. Virtual writing coach? What the hell is that? Well, go to NelsieSpencer.com and click on Work with Nelsie to find out. There's also a roundtable, an ongoing writers group where you have support and inspiration and community. Step away from all those things that are non-productively filling up your day and step back into your dreams. And now you can book a free 20-minute consultation with Nelsie when you go to her site. So, work with Nelsie today at NelsieSpencer.com. Now back to the episode.
Good for her. So you knew that your princess was a good traveler because you guys had already been to Fiji together. So now here you are in India, and where you've gone to, you're watching the people go into the river.
Right, but this is just background because it's
Got it.
not where it's happened. So I just need to do this journey to where we get to, where the losing it happened. Okay, so up into Nepal. Yeah, lovely Nepal at Pokhara near Annapurna. There were hippies. And in fact, it was disappointing. You would think you were going to Shangri-La. And then there's these sort of hippie cafes with Led Zeppelin blasting out, which you know what I mean. So, and then from there all the way back down to Bombay and then right down to the southern tip. Southern tip, which is one of the most beautiful parts of India on the west, is Kerala. And Kerala has its own. Kerala was the first democratically communist state in the world, democratically elected. But it also has the amazing, you would have seen the Kathakali, which is those big green-faced men who wear sort of those dancers. That's Kerala.
Okay.
So there's a little beach down there called Kovalam Bay, which is now a massive international tourist resort, but it wasn't then. Yeah, in those days, it literally was live in the hut and wash in the well. But it's on the beach, lovely surf, southern west coast, lovely, lovely, lovely. So there were a few people hanging out. One of them was a guy from near me in England, and he was a surfer. They didn't carry surfboards or anything. It was just body surfing. But for about, I don't know, maybe 2 months, all we ever did was surf, you know, and then relax with some herb, and then surf. And
I got to tell you, Jonathan, you sound a little bit like a hippie.
No, not really. No, because no. It's okay. What I sound like, it's up to you.
No, I'm teasing you.
No, I mean, no, not really.
Yeah, a little surfing and a little weed. That's all.
Well, obviously, it's not weed. Actually, it's black charas. Yeah, it's part of the culture. Yeah, it's part of the culture.
Okay.
And anyway, so the point being that it was just very chilled out, relaxed for a long time, just surfing.
It sounds
and
great.
she liked to swim, but we just all just very, very, very laid back. Probably a bit too laid back. And I remember every afternoon there was a ritual. This beautiful local lady with sort of the gold thing would come along. And there's no hotels here. There was a hotel up the road, which was international, the only one built. I think it's still there, Cobham Bay Hotel. But on the beach here, there were just huts and things, and the villagers were pretty poor. But incredibly rich. She always carry a big thing on her head with pineapples, fresh pineapples, and she would cut it up for us, and we'd enjoy the pineapple every afternoon, go back to swim. So the reason I'm saying this is because it was very laid back for quite a long time. And one of the things I'd learned from the beginning, before I went, and I traveled before, is you have to carry everything that's important with you at all times. You can't leave it anywhere. And so I had this little sort of localized bag thing, sack thing. Whatever I did, I carried it with me. So I'm going surfing, I'd leave it with her. If she was doing something else, it was very laid back, as I say, I'd just leave it under a rock where I can see it. Anyway, so every night I would always make sure it was with me. And I got into this thing where I could look at the stars at night. Really beautiful there. And I always put the thing on my head. I'm lying on the beach with this thing on my head, under my head, which is everything: passport, return tickets, traveler's checks, etc. And, as I said, got very laid back. And one night I was there looking at the stars. Anyway, I fell asleep. No, made my way back to the hut. When I woke up in the morning, oh my God, I'd left it on the beach. Everything.
Oh my!
I left it on the beach, God. Yeah. And so, of course, I absolutely freak out, and I'm looking for it. This sort of community had a head man, and I was freaking out. He didn't speak any English, but he got the message, I think. And I was totally worried because I basically lost the Jewish girlfriend's passport, my passport, tickets, the traveler's checks. And you don't do that in India because the embassies and the banks, they don't believe a word because it's usually full of hippies making stories up.
Yeah.
So, but also Kerala is here, and the nearest place would be Bombay, which is like 2 days travel. So I'm freaking out. I don't know what to do. And this guy, this headman, this tall, skinny guy with one of those sarongs around his waist, and he heard me freaking out, trying to explain what's happened, and he sort of thought about it, and then he went to the rubbish pile behind his house, and lo and behold, there was my passport, and it had been brought in by a fisherman's net.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And if people didn't believe me, I used to carry that passport because it was completely soaked right through with every bit of traveling all sort of merged through the ink. Anyway, so he gave me that, and I'm like, wow, that came in on a fisherman's net in the South, Indian Ocean. That's a bit odd. And then he brought out this old exercise book, and he'd been drawing some traveler's checks in dollars that he found. My money.
So, oh my God. So,
well, not all of it. Go on.
So you fall asleep, you wake up, you forget to bring it. The tide comes in, takes it out, and a fisherman. It ended up in a fisherman's net.
Well, that's it. Yeah, that's the absolute truth. So I got some of it back. So and then I must go all the way to Bombay.
So what about your girlfriend's passport?
I think it was lost. If I got that bit, I'm not clear about that because she went on to travel in America somewhere. But I can't remember that exact film. But anyway, it does involve her anyway. The thing is, I knew I was going to take a horrible journey, long journey up to Bombay, trains, and because we were on budget, it's the 5th cattle class, and in India that's pretty rough,
Oh my! Yeah.
You just poo into a hole on the train as it goes along.
No.
This is 1978. This is not the Orient Express, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
I would not have handled that well. I would not have.
Nor did I. I mean, I finally got to Bombay, and it kind of the story. Queuing up with these, I had lots of hippies trying to scam their way back to a new passport, which they've sold, or traveller's checks, which they've sold, and they were listening to me, and they were saying, "Don't be bloody ridiculous! No one's going to believe that." But I went in there and I said, "Look, here's my passport. Look at it." And they, cut a long story short, finally I did get the money back, and so those details are a bit lost for me, but I got everything sorted out.
That's amazing.
It is amazing, but it took about a week before I could get back to the beach. Horrendous traveling, horrendous stress, and how long have we got? How long is this thing?
How are we doing, Ronnie, time-wise?
We're at 40 minutes. I mean, we can keep going.
Well, it comes to a fairly abrupt end shortly. Okay?
Yeah.
So, okay, I can't see now.
You can't see me?
No, they are. Okay, so I get there, and Mark, the surfer.
You go to Bombay. You get you had your passport, but did they have to replace it, or that passport was
No,
fine?
not that one. No, I kept that one. So it just carried it until it ran out of time. But no, it was the traveller's checks and the ticket and things. They were sorted out.
So even though they were soaked and everything, they go ahead.
No,
and
they
replace
weren't. They didn't come back. The traveller's checks did, and the booking for the ticket didn't matter because it was booked and paid for. So I was able to go to the travel. But these details are very misty for me. The story is about getting the passport back and then getting everything done and going back. It took me more about a week or 10 days getting back to the beach to find that Mark and the Jewish princess have got together.
No.
And that's what losing it is.
That's the biggest losing it. Oh.
And it still breaks my heart today.
How did you wait? How did you find out?
Well, it didn't happen straight away. Mark kept saying things like when we were sitting there in the afternoon in between body surfing, you've got to pay more attention to Melanie. You've got to pay more attention to her. I was, she's all right. We were too laid back. I was losing it because I was losing it. There you are. But I was, it was a lot. It was a very spacey time because you're on this beautiful place. You're in the ocean nearly all day long, in between which you're floating around. It was just a very sort of magical. So,
and you were really.
We've been together since about 8 years, and not living together, but we've been a boyfriend girlfriend. So it's not the first flush of romance. You sort of take each other for granted. And I shouldn't have done. I realised that, and he kept trying to tell me, and I think
it's crazy that.
Yeah.
So it's Mark, the one who basically stole.
He's such a nice guy. I don't bear him any ill.
He's the one who's telling you, "Hey, yo, buddy, you gotta get."
Yeah. Well, it wasn't like that. No, it's more like, "Oh, man, I think you got to spend more time with Melanie. Maybe she needs some attention. I don't think she's very happy like that." And I was just like, "Oh, yeah, okay." Just totally dumb to it.
So how did you ultimately find out?
Well, I think it worked like this, that she said to me something. We were about to have a romantic interlude, and she said, "Well, it's too late." And so I said, "What do you mean it's too late?" And then she said, "Oh, well, I've been getting together with Mark, and this was we've been together 8 years, so it's a bit of a shocker. But somehow or another, we managed to get back. And this part is all blurred for me.
Yeah.
Because I'm 60 and nearly 69. There's very many travelers' stories, and
they all start to blur together.
Well, not so much that. It's just that the fine details get a bit screwed.
Yeah.
But anyway, we did get back to London, And she said to me, I remember she said to me, you know, I left part of my heart on that beach. So that was it. But we got back together. She sort of left me formally. I don't think this works. We were, you know, we just, whatever. But funnily enough, you know, and I was absolutely shattered and heartbroken. It's really bad.
Yeah.
But we got back together one day. She came back. You know, so that was another magic thing. But the final result obviously wasn't. That's another story too. But it went on for a while, and it was an amazing, you know, the one big one. You know, that's the big.
Yeah, and
and
to have your. I mean, if you were 26 while you were traveling, which meant, and you guys had been together for 8 years, so you'd been together since you were 18.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, second year at college, so that would have been 19, and she was first year, so she would have been 18.
So, but still, that's you know, you're so young, you know, and that's very hard.
Well, we did stay, you know, we stayed together for a couple more years, actually.
Yeah.
She came back to me. I was in London working, and she was in London with her family, and
well, Melanie,
so when she came back, it was amazing when she came back. I still remember that really was she came back, and we were hugging and kissing, and really for me it was music in the angels.
The angels were singing. Yes,
I can still remember that. I can still picture it in my eyes, sitting in my car in London, and just, you know, hugging and kissing, and that sort of, you know, everything will be all right for the rest of my life. But that's another story. And you know, I'm nearly 69. I'm 69 next month. So you can imagine how many stories have been going all this life.
Absolutely.
And I'm still not settled. You know, I just had to move here, this unfurnished place. It's just taken me 6 months to get it sorted while working full time. And now I have to go and live in Thailand, in a new place I've never been to, Chiang Mai. I've been to the south of Thailand a few times, to the beaches. I'm going up to the north in Chiang Mai, which is up in the mountains. And
so the next time, you know, the next time we meet, you'll have another story to tell. Another
I might be in Thailand.
You might be in Thailand. So let me ask you a couple of questions, because we have a first of all, Melanie, if you're listening, you know, he's still thinking about you. He still misses you. And he left a part of his heart on that beach as well, just so you know. Or maybe he left a part of his heart in that car in London. So just know the effect.
Well, that wasn't the end, but I do remember the final part. It was a few years later.
You
but
just
very sweet.
You're very sweet. He still thinks of you fondly, so just know that. So,
well,
okay,
I mean, I don't think.
Let me ask you.
How do people listen to your podcast? Do people in England listen?
Absolutely, you can anywhere you can listen. So
I know nothing about podcasts. I'm a bit.
Yeah, well, we'll get in touch with Melanie. We'll get in touch with Melanie and make sure she listens. So, let me ask you a question.
Please don't.
No, we won't. Do that. Do it, Ronnie.
Okay.
Do it.
He's married. To be married. That was the story. The final chapter is pretty. The final story of our relationship is pretty amazing, actually.
All right. Well, now you have to tell it.
Okay, so I guess we drifted along for a couple more years, and very nice, they were in love. And her dad obviously didn't approve of me because I'm a Gentile.
I forgot the whole Jewish.
Yeah. So, but one day we were living together by then, and in a small place in northwest London, I'm working. It wasn't very great at that point because I don't think I was going to match up, and it was quite stressed out. And for her, it's very difficult because being a Jewish princess, a lot of expectations and a lot of rigidity. Anyway, so we were having a massive round. She said to me, my dad just said that he'll say we can get married. And I kind of said something like, that's not going to happen, in a very rude way because we're having a row. And anyway, I didn't see her for a couple of days. And then a couple of days later, she said, guess what? I'm married. She said, I met Robert. He's a very wealthy Jew. And I married him the next day. They both were, Robert, I'm not going to mention names, but Robert's a very, very powerful, rich Jewish guy. And your football connection would be interesting, but I'm not going to say it because it's a bit sensitive.
Oh, my
Football club, you know, very powerful, rich family. And in the same position, but older than her, a little bit older than me, very rich playboy. and getting pressure to he should get married for the Jewish, cause. And so they just met each other by chance through a friend and married the next day.
My Lord.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Oh my God. I'm sorry.
Fait accompli.
Jonathan, it's a screenplay. This is a screenplay. I don't know who's playing Melanie.
Well, Robert can write it.
Yeah.
Ronnie.
Ronnie can write it. Okay, so let me ask you a question then. That was a fantastic story and heartbreaking. And I think, we've all had those. I traveled to Hawaii when I was 16 to see my 19-year-old boyfriend, which is a whole other story, but a little too laid back as well. But here's my question for you. Given, you've got hindsight, you have all these years of experience behind you. If somebody is listening and they're in their 20s and they're traveling or they're about to travel with their girlfriend or their boyfriend, and what did you learn from that? What little piece of advice might you give them?
I think it's not to do with traveling. I think it's about cherishing relationships.
There you go.
You have to pay attention. That's it.
Good.
If you lose the focus for too long, then
yeah.
What's it?
That's good.
And Melanie was she was a very
pay attention,
passionate. Well, she was a passionate too.
And so you have to cherish. I think that's a great one. You have to cherish. Okay.
You have to cherish and pay attention. I think it's pay attention. Just don't let the focus go for too long.
Yeah. Because you got to pay attention. But what you have there is precious. All right. So we end with 3 questions.
Okay.
And the questions are: What do you hope to lose in the next year? What do you hope to gain in the next year? And what do you hope you never lose?
Okay, I remember seeing these about a month ago when Ronnie first suggested it. I thought about them. I had these great, clever answers, but I've forgotten all about it. So losing, what I'd like to lose now is weight and chins, first off.
Chins, I like that. Okay, weight and chins. And something that you want to gain in the next year.
Yeah, probably some form of stability. It really is a bit rough at my age to still be looking to move to a new place, a new house, a new country. In Thailand, they don't speak English, and I'll still be working full time, 10 hours at the computer every day.
Yeah,
so
you want.
Yeah.
Good. I think that's good. Let's gain you some stability.
Settled, but I don't know when it's going to happen, and it may not happen this year because Philippines is very strict. So I might be stuck there for months and months and months. So,
all right. Well, I've decided it's going to happen. You're going to find your stability this year. I
might find it in Thailand.
We don't know.
It might be there.
And then something that you hope you never lose.
My faith.
Lovely. Lovely.
Your faith to what?
Well, I was brought up as a Christian.
Oh. Faith to religion.
That's my dad. Well, I wasn't a very well-behaved Christian, but I am, in your old age, you get a bit. That's my dad. Just before he died,
I see.
And I had this sort of as a cathedral choir boy. So I've always had that ritual. I mean, I've looked at all sorts of religions, and I'm not a fanatic or anything. Faith is just something that keeps you going, especially at this age with these kind of things that happen. So I would say that. And I'm not afraid to say I'm Christian because it's very unpopular these days, but I'm not a fanatic Christian.
I always say
I'm open to everything, but this is the ritual I've been all my life, and so I get used to it, and it's the sort of, that's the deal I get.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, look, I always say you can't argue with Jesus Christ, who says, turn the other cheek and love your neighbor as you love yourself.
Exactly.
So I always, don't judge Christianity by some present day Christian who's who might be changing the message of Christianity, because there's no hate in Christianity. There's no judgment. Right. There's only love.
Exactly.
So I'm with you. That's fantastic. And this was so fun. I hope I'm seeing you very settled this year. It's all going to work out. And then I'm going to come visit you with your, and get to meet some of your roosters. That's my plan.
Well, if I can get back here, you're very welcome. If I can get back here, because I'll be paying rent here. It's taken me 6 months to get this place sorted out, and which is unfurnished. But it's a miracle for Manila. Ronnie knows Manila. I've got a park here. It's private. It all belongs to this an army general family. They own all of this land. That land out there is a park, which is worth literally hundreds of millions of dollars because it's massive, and it's in Parañaque, and it's next to the airport, the international airport for the Philippines. So that is the real estate that you just can't imagine.
You managed
a full-grown tree.
You managed to navigate yourself there, which says a lot about you. So you're just going to end up there.
Pure
I just
luck.
have a feeling.
Pure luck.
Yeah.
Well, that was pure luck. But I have a house down in Iloilo, down in the south. Philippines has 7,000 islands, so you forgive it a lot of mismanagement. It's pretty hard to manage. The other thing is it is a Catholic country, so you don't feel too weird being a Christian.
Good.
Well, I don't go to church.
Jonathan, this was great. It was so fun to talk to you. Go ahead, Ronnie.
I wanted to say, Mr. Chandler, I just really quickly, I just wanted to say, I remember back when I was in your class, sometimes I would come early to class, or sometimes I would stay after class because I had you for my last period. And I remember you would tell me these crazy stories because I used to talk to you about music a lot because I was really into old music. Okay. And I tell this story to people, and now I'm trying to see if it's true, if I remember correctly. But did you tell me that you saw Jimi Hendrix a week before he died?
2 weeks, yeah. Well, basically, that's 3 weeks. It's his last gig. You know, one thing for Nelsie and you is that in music, I have a whole lifetime involved with music. I've seen everything. I've seen everybody. I was there, I was at those places, Bob Marley saw him 10 times. But Hendrix, 1970, so haven't gone to college, just on the way to college. And that summer, 1970, they had the Bath Festival, which is now Glastonbury, the world famous one. But it was Bath Festival, loads of great bands, everybody there, Steppenwolf, Birds, everybody, Santana.
Oh my God.
And then that summer, that was in like May. And then at the end of August, the Isle of Wight, very famous. The 1970 Isle of Wight had many more people than Woodstock. It had about 600,000 or 700,000 because the French anarchists from the 1968 revolutionary year in France and Europe had all come over because the Isle of Wight is an island south of England, just on the southern edge of England. So they just all came over in ferry boats and, and they were anarchists. And so, nobody knows the numbers, but they did keep trying to tear down the walls so there could be free music. But everybody was there. I saw everybody at the Isle of Wight, and you can check it out. The Isle of Wight, August 70, was just an amazing gig, but it was horribly done. There was violence and anarchy and all sorts. But I did actually see Hendrix, and he
How
died.
How did you see him?
That's another story, because I was having a cerebral adventure for the first time in my life.
Ah, gotcha.
So I finally get right to the front, and I'm right there, and he is amazing, but every now and then it would turn into sort of Gregorian chants, pretty heavy. I remember turning around, and there's like 400,000 or 500,000 people behind me, and they all looked like John Wayne.
How was he live? Because I remember you telling me he was kind of messed up towards the end.
Well, no, I mean, I was messed up. So that's what I'm saying. No, it wasn't good. He was in the last,
Yeah.
He died in Paris like 3 weeks later or something. Didn't he choke on it?
He died in Paris too? Because
I think Jimmy Morrison
died in Paris.
No, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think Hendrix died in
in London. Yeah.
In London,
so.
Okay, yeah.
Certainly. Well, check it out, Ronnie, because you're able to Google it. But it was the gig was like August 29th or something, and I think he died about September 28th or something.
Wow,
that was his last gig. No, it was good, but as I said, turned into a kind of Gregorian chant like monks, which was what I.
And did that actually happen, or did it just seem like that was happening because you had taken a trip?
Like No, I mean, what I know, certainly it was what's happening in here. For sure. He wasn't. I mean, they all turned into John Wayne. I'm not kidding. and I can still see it.
You can still see it.
I'm back to look at this way. I don't want to look behind me because I'm right up the front. There's Jimmy up there. But it was all, yeah. So it's ironic because seeing a big hero, but not really seeing him.
Yeah, that's heartbreaking, really, a little bit.
I don't know. It was all fun in those days.
Oh, you're right. You're right. It's all fun.
I was young. Yeah.
All right.
Anyway.
Well, this was so much fun, Ronnie. I'm glad you asked that question because, so we got another story. We got another, and there you were losing your mind, and you were losing your mind right before Hendrix lost his life. So there's losing it left, right, and center.
There you go.
I get it. There you go. Oh gosh. Okay. So anyway, once again, Jonathon, this was such a treat, and I'm going to call you Mr. Chandler, just like Ronnie. Thank you, Mr. Chandler. It's all going to work out. I know it is. And you keep us posted, okay? Because I know our listeners are going to want to know. So I'm going to let them know. You let us know how it works out. All right?
Okay. Right.
So thank you so much.
Well, thank you. Thanks to Ronnie. I've never had this kind of experience before, and I know very little about podcasting, etc. So I figured I don't really need to prepare. I can chat along forever,
But you know how to tell a story. And that's what we're looking for.
Got a few, yeah. All right.
You got a few. All right. Yeah. Thanks so much.
Thank you too. Thanks, Ronnie.
Yeah, thanks.
Take care. Nice to meet you, Miss Nelsie. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too, Mr. Chandler.
Fantastic.
Also known as Jonathon.
Johnny Chandler.
Johnny. Thank you, Johnny.
Okay. Cheers.
All right.
And that was funny. We got some good stuff there. Right?
Yes.
Oh, that was
Very
good. A DJ spit in my mouth, which maybe should be the title of the episode. Okay. And so outro, we just say, wow, he was amazing. He was funny. Right. And then
we do the fan letter.
Then we do the fan letter. Okay.
Yeah.
So he was great. Am I right? So funny.
Yes.
Ugh, and with that accent. I love the accent. I stopped myself from mentioning the accent about 20 times because I hate sounding like an idiotic American going, oh, I love your accent. And I don't think I stopped myself from trying to imitate it. So, but oh my God, he's so funny. And my God, his Jewish princess. That was so sad.
Oh man, I remember editing it and I see it in his face, like he definitely has a soft spot for her still,
Yeah. You can see that he's like that's the one that got away, and he said, pay attention. That's the lesson. Pay attention. You can't be too stoned and too laid back because you might look up and go, oh shit, my girlfriend's gone. Yeah. My girlfriend's sleeping with that guy over there that I hadn't even really known. That guy. Yeah. That guy who kept telling me, you really got to give her more attention.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the crazy thing. Yeah. And then the fact he falls asleep on the beach and he wakes up, the tides come in and gone out and his stuff's gone.
Yeah, when he was telling that story and the travel, like the week of travel to like get his stuff back at the embassy, and that just sounded so stressful. I could not imagine he was at Thailand I forget when he said it was, like, what is it, the 70s, 80s? He said
it was the 70s.
The 70s, yeah, and then like taking
maybe the 80s.
A bus, like a shitty bus, in Southeast Asia, just sweating and. You have no money, you have no passport, you're not a person anymore.
No. I would not have fared well. I'm a baby in those situations, right? I mean, I've never been in that situation, but to be in a foreign country, not have your passport, and then have to get on a shitty bus, I just couldn't do it. I just sit on a curb and cry.
I forget that I come from that area, and I've done that many times, and it's always like, I only do that because sometimes there's no other option. Like if I were to take the bus or something, and the bus is not, it's different. It's not like over here in the States. It's different sometimes, and it's just the way it is. It's a third world country, there's a lot of poverty. So in the Philippines too, there is like almost no middle class at all. So it's either like, you know, a really developed area or like, you know, the slums. And it's like this weird thing. There's no transition. Like there's this really new part of the city called BGC. This is like a very developed place. And right on the border, there's a huge wall and it's just squatters, like the slums. And there's like a wall right there. It's crazy. It's so crazy.
Wow. Wow. And on the other side of the wall is wow. Yeah, that's so sad. Jesus.
Yeah, it's crazy. I used to live there, and when I was a kid, and there's a huge international school, or actually right where Mr. Chandler works right now. It's a huge international school, and it's like the international schools in the Philippines. They're like huge buildings. They're like this building was probably like 10 stories tall. And I would look out on the gym. I would look out, and there's a balcony at the gym. You could see just like all the whole slum city, just right there. Wow. And it's crazy. I didn't even notice it until I went there.
Did you ever see City of God? I think it's a Brazilian film that takes place in Buenos Aires, and it's about these street children and living in slums. It's brilliant. It's brilliant. Watch it. City of God. I'll make sure I got that right. We might have to do Corrections Corner next week, but I think it's called City of God, and it's just brilliant filmmaking. And it is, you're just there in this unbelievably poor part of Buenos Aires, and it's, I think it's Buenos Aires. Shit. Anyway, Google it. Okay. So we have a fan letter. Am I right?
We do. So this fan letter, it's the topic last week was about changing in life, right? It's like you're right, youth, and then you are you now.
The way Calvin.
Yes, exactly. How Calvin changed.
The way Calvin made that great change. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So this one is not, it's more introspective rather than, funny. Usually this is not a shitting in the ocean type letter.
No poop in the ocean? No. Is it really worth reading? No. Okay. I have to put my glasses on. Okay. So, hi, Nelsie! ! I like that. Up until very recently, I used to think and perceive my life and my environment very differently. Well, let's start over. Hi, Nelsie. Up until recently, I used to think and perceive my life and my environment very differently. I used to always think that everything, and I mean everything, had some sort of meaning or explanation as to why it was the way it was. Rather than it being a positive trait where I could satisfy my curiosity about the world around me, it left me to be an aloof, high-strung, and paranoid person. Ooh. I wasn't able to enjoy things just as they were. I became awkward and unable to hold a casual conversation. Oh, that sounds so hard. Through this time, I struggled with depression. Yes, because if you can't connect, it's really going to get to you. I couldn't be happy to just be happy. There had to be a reason why. Oh, wow. And if there was no reason, then the only other thing I could be was sad. Oh, boy. Once I realized that life wasn't meant to be this way, that no one is accountable for my happiness and well-being but myself, and many other self-realizations that I don't want to bore you with, then I started to slowly and surely feel lightness within me. Well, wow, that's very cool. And I'm wondering how this revelation came. And maybe we're going to hear this. My friend, whose uncle I was very close to, passed away recently. He was a workaholic. He never once took a holiday or bought something he liked. Finally, at 60, he was able to retire. He made plans to move to the Philippines and buy a house until suddenly he died of a heart attack. Oh, my God. Oh, that really left a lasting impression on me when I started this journey of lightness and self-discovery. Life is not going to wait for you, so you have to do the things you want to do and live a life you'll be proud of every day. And to learn to enjoy life by living in the presence of it. You only have this one. Love, Anonymous. That is so true. Thank you, Anonymous. Wow. That's so interesting too. The internal journey that Anonymous took. I'm not going to use any pronoun because I don't know. Of looking for meaning, and that looking for meaning created this feeling of pointlessness, which is kind of interesting, right?
Yeah, like not everything is that important, you know.
Not everything is that important. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'm all for like put good music on and dance around your kitchen. I'm all for that. Yeah. I'm all for like, where's the joy? You know, find the connection, and
Yeah, that made me think about
pooping
it too.
In the ocean.
Like,
tell me.
She said that that guy worked his whole life until he was 60. He was like working to retire. He was working to retire and then enjoy his life. But then as soon as he retires, so at the end of the day, all he did was work, you know? And
it's like that Alanis Morissette song, isn't it ironic, right? Where the guy finally he's afraid of flying and he finally takes a plane ride and it crashes. But yeah, I mean, and it makes me think of Trisha episode. I'm not sure what episode it is, but you know, she just at 22 was like, you know what, I'm going to travel. And that's what she does. And she's a travel blogger. P.S. I'm on my way. Check it out. Because what are we waiting for? Right? I mean, right now there's a pandemic and that's a whole thing, but still people are traveling. Right?
Yeah. I mean,
don't wait and say, oh, someday I'm going to fill in the blank.
Yeah, right?
Right?
That's
Do it now.
Like, I have this like argument all the time. Like, I understand planning. I understand it. But if all you do is plan, that's all you're doing. You know what I mean? Like, plan.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. But it doesn't matter if you don't do anything.
No, exactly. I mean, it's like, I wanted to start a podcast, so I started one. I mean, I did talk about it for a year. That's kind of seems to be how I go. I talk about shit for a year, but I do eventually do it. You know, just do it. And so whatever you guys, if you're thinking, oh, I want to travel, or I want to start a podcast, or I want to go to the tropics, or do it. Don't wait.
Yeah.
Right?
I did that a couple of years ago. Like, I just said to myself, because I was just like, I was kind of in a slump. And then I just said to myself, I want to move back to New York. And then I left in 2 weeks, you know, like.
Oh, awesome.
I just did that. And like, I found the first apartment online. And like, I just trusted this guy. It's like, I'm going to put a deposit on this. And I just left in 2 weeks. I bought a ticket and I wanted the first ticket, and the first ticket was in 2 weeks. And then I remember buying the ticket and then telling my parents, oh, by the way, I'm leaving in 2 weeks. And then my dad.
Did they freak out?
Well, my dad was like, did you plan this out, or are you making a huge mistake here? And my mom was like, why? You know, and then, you know, it's just something like, you know, your parents are just not going to immediately understand, you know, so, but, you know, I did it, and I'm still here.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, my son wants to move to Florida, or you know, he's like, you know, maybe like it's really cheap to live in Indonesia. I'm like, honey, go do it. Why not? You know, I don't want him to go somewhere that's not safe, but he's looking for good waves. He's a surfer.
You should go to the Philippines.
Good waves?
Oh my God. Yeah. Like, Red Hot Chili Peppers go there all the time to surf.
No kidding.
Oh my gosh. I don't surf,
so you
but
could hook
all
him up?
of my friends surf. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
All right.
All my friends surf.
You tell him what neighborhood he should live in?
Yeah. I know everything over there. So like
I'm getting him in touch with Trisha. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, she knows just as much, you know, so. And plus, like, a 1-bedroom apartment in the capital is like $500. It's insane, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
So don't wait. Do what you want to do. Have fun. You know, obviously, do what you want to do. Don't hurt other people. I want to go on a shooting spree. Don't do that. Get some help if that's what's going through your brain. But what are we waiting for? What are we waiting for?
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. So I'm just cannot wait till the pandemic is over
I
and
love
the
how
DJ
you're holding your mic
spits
right
champagne. I know. I'm holding it. Guys, it's broken. Okay. I dropped it and it broke. Do you see that? So I just have to hold it. Just holding it.
You're like
I'm trying to keep it still.
Announcer.
And in the left corner.
Like holding the microphone.
I know. No, I should have it like if I was yeah.
Yeah.
And
So
from
funny.
the Philippines, Ronnie Whaley. Weighing in at 240.
Oh, you got to get that fixed.
Yeah, I got to get that fixed. Yeah. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. All right. So are we done?
I think, yeah.
Did we do it? I think we did it.
We did.
We had fun. And so wait a minute. So yeah, we got to. Hello.
Next week's thing.
Next week's thing. Okay, so I don't know. I feel like lost love. I mean, do you think it's lost love?
Man.
I mean, I feel like the biggest thrust of his story was losing his Jewish princess. And how I feel like he's still sad about it.
Yeah, the one that got away.
The one that got away. See, I always talk way around it. And like and Ronnie are like, the one that got away. Oh yeah, like that classic statement. Good. The one that got away. Okay, guys. So email us at losingitcontact@gmail.com.
Yeah. Or DM us on Instagram, or even, just comment below this video on YouTube. We'll find it.
We love comments. Oh, and please rate, review, and subscribe on iTunes. And if you're watching us, guys, on YouTube, on our YouTube channel, subscribe and comment. We love the comments.
We love it.
All right? We love it. We love you.
We do.
We do. Much. We love you. Oh, all right, Ronnie. Don't poop in the ocean.
Okay.
Losing it, losing it, losing it, losing it, losing it, losing it. You came and you listened to the story. I hope so much that it didn't make you sorry, and I hope so much that you'll come back again.
Losing It, hosted by Nelsie Spencer, produced by me, Ronnie Whaley. Theme song by Hunter Williams. Follow us online on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and all podcasting platforms at Losing It Podcast. Viewers can email Nelsie with questions or comments about life, writing, comedy, or even your own Losing It story for a chance to be on the Losing It Podcast at losingitcontact@gmail.com. For everything Nelsie and everything Losing It, visit us at nelsiespencer.com.